So why would you use it? Well, one thing is that you can work a whole lot less. So again, if we think about what are you doing that are things that are repetitive day in, day out, then a CRM can handle a lot of those sort of processes.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today.
Tonight's presentation is all about CRMs. So for those of you that have not come across a CRM, I'm not quite sure what the term is. If you want to drop it into chat, who knows what the CRM is? Just to get a brief of knowledge here, just drop into chat what CRM stands for. Who's going to be first? I like to say there's a prize for first, but the only prize is being the person that knows what CRM stands for. There we go, client relationship management. So CRM is a client relationship management tool, which basically means it does some things automatically in the background where you don't have to touch it. Cretin retirement mania. There we go. We've got some creative ones coming through as well too. So really what it is it helps businesses to manage their clients and customer relationships. So it is not a tool for replacing human beings. It is a tool for helping human beings with all of our frailties to manage some of those relationships when sometimes we forget. So I resonate with Aldwin's, what she said at the beginning is that, she's busy delivering and doing all the good creative stuff and maybe not so good with the back of house stuff. Resonate with that. That's the reason why I got a CRM to start with, because I would say things like, I will give you a call back, or I'll follow up with you in a week or so, and then I'd promptly forget. Why? Not because I'm a bad person, well, I might be, but not really because I'm a bad person, but because I'm on to the next thing and, so the next shiny object. So what a CRM does is it keeps you accountable for actions that you said that you would take in a way that means that things just don't slip off the radar. And I've been using a CRM now since about 1998. So if anyone ever remembers a CRM called ACT, ACT, that was one that I used in a mortgage broking business that I had way back then, and it really sort of drove the business. A very powerful tool when we customized it. Oh, there you go. There's the fellow that's speaking tonight, Nick Cree. That's me. So you probably know sort of enough about me, but I am a digital transformation coach. I do work with businesses on, helping them to grasp some of these concepts like a CRM, how to use them effectively, and really my key thing is how can we help save time and how can we help you to save costs and to make more money? And also if you've got staff in your business, how can we get them working a bit more effectively rather than on mundane tasks, but on tasks that really make a difference to business. I am an online strategist, so I work with businesses on their strategy. I do have a number of courses and programs that I've developed. And I really sort of started, well, I didn't start in this area, but I ended up being a WordPress developer too, which I did for about 13 years. So I know way through that system. So what is a CRM? Well, it is effectively a customer database. So probably the simplest form of CRM is a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet where you record people's first names, last names, email addresses. That is the simplest form of CRM. And then you've got a whole host of other, what we call SaaS solutions, which is software as a service. And ACT now falls into that as well too. ACT was a CRM that you could download to your computer and you could run it from there. And it was insanely customizable. You could send out emails from it as well too. But these days, most of them are online and you would pay a subscription for them. There are very few free ones out there. Although I think Ron mentioned MailChimp, I think is free now up to about 500 subscribers on it. After that, you start paying. They used to have a free level of up to 2,000. I think they've cut it back to about 500, really to give people a taste of how a CRM can work. But consequently, lots of people have signed up to CRM, to MailChimp and don't use it. Oh, there's HubSpot as well too. I think, is HubSpot free, Fred? I think it is. I think there's a free level for HubSpot as well too. But it is. So HubSpot's another good one to sign up to explore as well. And I think, well, someone mentioned Agile. That one has a free level as well. So there you go. There's a few of them that have got free. So HubSpot, Agile, and MailChimp. But basically, it's what it does is that it allows you to email out to subscribers all at once. In the old days, you used to do BCC or CC on emails. That is frowned upon now. So if you're doing that sort of thing, using that method of sending emails out, that is the quickest way to get relegated, have your email address relegated into the spam bin. So that is a big no-no these days, is to use your Outlook email program or your G Suite email program and just send out mass broadcasts with a CC. Even sending out thousands of emails or hundreds of emails directly from your email program is another way to get yourself relegated into the spam bin. Once you get relegated into spam bins, it's very difficult to get your domain out. So you are better off to invest in a CRM rather than using the cheaper option, which is to use your email program, because it will mean that people are more likely to get your emails. When they do hit the spam boxes, there are a number of people that never even check their spam emails. So you just end up wasting a whole lot of your efforts there. There are different sorts of CRMs as well. You've got sales CRMs, you've got what would you call it, more sort of customer notes and appointment type CRMs. Like health professionals tend to use those ones broadly. But then you've got marketing CRM. So what I'm going to be talking about tonight is a marketing CRM. Now, marketing CRMs do cross the boundary, or do cross between marketing and sales. So you can use marketing CRMs for sales as well. And you can use some sales CRMs for marketing, but generally, for small business, it's a marketing CRM you want to focus on. So, so things like Salesforce, for instance, you may have heard of Salesforce. That is a sales CRM, very good, very customizable, but it's a sales-centric one rather than marketing-centric. If you're talking about marketing-centric, then we've got things like certainly MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, and what else have we got? Oh, we've got some in chat too. HubSpot, Act. Act is probably more a sales CRM. I'll go high level. There's another CRM as well. Thanks, Fred. That is another really good option as well too. The CRM Hub, Cactus. Was it Catechus? Haven't heard of that one, so that's interesting. But there are there's Capsule as well. Yes, thank you for that. So there's lots and lots of CRMs out there. Don't get caught up in which CRM to get. The best CRM to get is the one that you can use. So there's lots and lots of them out there, but you want to get one that you can use. The principles I'm going to talk about tonight really cover and go across all of the CRMs. They are general principles. I'm not going to be comparing which CRM is better, because it really depends on your business and the purpose that you want to use it for. But I'm going to give you some case studies and some ways to use it. So hopefully that'll kick off your brain to think about how you can get it and use the CRM. And one of the other key things about CRMs is it helps you to automate processes that are repetitive processes. So typically that can be marketing, but it can also be systems and procedures within your business as well. And I'll show you how that works. So if you think about, if you have to do something twice or 3 times, it's a repetitive process. Then if you think about how can we turn this in, or can we use a CRM to really automate that process so that I don't have to touch these things again. So I'll talk about some of those tonight and how you might be able to do it. And it's also good for compliance as well. So what is compliance? Well, spam is a big thing, and it is not something you should really ignore. So if you're sending emails out from an email program like Outlook or Office 365 or Google G Suite or, whatever, Thunderbird, whatever email program you've got. The problem with that is that you've got no way of proving that people have opted in for those emails. So, while it might not seem like a big problem, I can tell you that I do know a guy who was a marketer in Western Australia some years ago, and the fine that he got for breaking the spam laws in Australia was just a little over $2 million. So it's not to scare you off, but it's just to say that these spam laws are out there, and you do need to be cognizant of them, and you do need to be as compliant with them as possible. And if you are just sending them out with BCCs or CCs in your email, then you may have a real problem with that, with spam. And it's the problem more is it's difficult to prove that you've had people's permission to send out emails. Whereas if you've got a CRM, then you've got a trail there where the CRM records the IP address the person's come from to prove that they actually signed up for the mailing list that they're on. And the other thing too is that you need to give people a way to be able to opt out. And all CRMs, or generally most of them, all the ones that I see you need to have it at the bottom of your messages that you send out, and unsubscribe or an opt-out as well. So the CRMs take care of all that so that you're compliant with those spam laws. All right, Janine, if they opt into your lead magnets, is that okay? Yes, because they have given you permission then by asking you to send them out their lead magnet. So that is okay. And the other thing too is when they opt into your lead magnet, then and they enter your CRM, when you do send out emails, it's always got that unsubscribe, or should always have that unsubscribe link at the bottom so they can opt out again. Now, when we talk about opt-outs, there are two types of opt-outs. There is opt-in, where, and typically you see this where if someone signs up for a lead magnet, they've left their email address on your website, it's connected to your CRM, so it goes into your CRM. They get an email back from the CRM to say, was this really you? Do you want to opt in for this? They've got to click the link in order to really opt in for it. So that's called double opt-in. And then single opt-in is when they visit your website, they give you their email address, fill in the form, hit submit, and they've opted in. And so an email doesn't go back to them to confirm whether they want to opt in. It's only just that one email. So that there is a single opt-in. So you can use either way. If you're using double opt-in, you will find that you will get less opt-ins, less people clicking on that double opt-in link that goes back to their emails. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because the CRM is not about quantity, it is about quality. So you want to get people into your CRM that want to hear from you, not just fill it up with lots of people, because you pay for it. So the more subscribers you've got, the more people you're paying for. So most CRMs have a level. So it might be 2,000, might be, if you've got 2,000 people in your CRM, they'll be charging one price. Once it hits, say, 5,000, the price goes up. Once it hits 10,000, the price goes up again. And after that, it can get quite pricey. So you do want to keep a reasonably clean CRM with people that want to receive your messages. And there are lots of people out there that want to hear from you as well too. So don't worry about the fact that they're not clicking that double opt-in again. The other thing about double opt-in as well too is it's a good way for eliminating spam in your CRM. Now, spam can be a real problem from your web forms into your CRM. And I can tell you that it was a $200 problem for me one month in that I got a truckload of spam into my CRM. In fact, I did have some of the spam traps in, they managed to get past all that there, but that clocked me up another level, and it meant that I've had another $200 that month for those additional leads, which are, it's really just sort of spam email addresses, which I then had to go through the CRM and clean them all back out again. So double opt-in will often stop that, in that they'll, if you've got spam listings that are opting into your forms, when the double opt-in goes back, then they don't click that double opt-in. And so you can run some rules in your CRM so that, if people haven't opted in or haven't clicked that double opt-in link after, say, 14 days or 7 days, they just automatically deleted out of your CRM. So you keep it clean and tidy. With a single opt-in, then you get more people that are going to subscribe because they only have to click the submit button once. but then you do run the risk of getting some of those spam listings in there. So you need a process and procedure to clean up some of that, and you're not running afoul of spam laws, but if it's a single opt-in, then it does increase the level at which someone might complain that you're sending them spam. Generally, double opt-ins, very, very low number of people that are spam. Single opt-ins, you might get a bit more, but don't be too concerned about that, because it's a fairly rare occurrence, particularly if you're sending good emails out that are not spammy. They're not what some of the CRMs consider spam are things like making money, health claims, get rich quick schemes, that sort of thing. But most of us are not going to be using it for that. You're going to be using it for your business. So that there is what a CRM is. All right. So why would you use it? Well, one thing is that you can work a whole lot less. So again, if we think about what are you doing that are things that are repetitive day in, day out, then a CRM can handle a lot of those sort of processes. So what are some of those repetitive processes? They may be things like if you need to follow people up on a regular basis, like on a monthly basis, and then and send out an email or some sort of form, then you can get a CRM to do that. If you've got things like a repetitive thing is, how many people ask for reviews? How many people are actively asking people for testimonials or reviews? Just show of hands there. Okay, so some of us. I would say that all of us should be doing that, because that's one of the really easiest ways, or the low-hanging fruit, to get more people to come along to your website, more people to come and buy from you and inquire from you, because it is third-party social proof. But that's another topic. But you can automate your process of getting reviews as well too. So rather than sending out an email every time someone finishes, say, a block of work with you, you can automate that with a CRM. Things like leads gathering as well too, you can automate that, so that if people come into, let's say if you've got a physical premises, for instance, or you see people physically, then you can get them to enter in their details into in that mobile phone. So they might have the QR code which they can scan, and they can enter their details into either to win something or to book in for you, whatever. Things like, I use a CRM for booking appointments. So people want to have a one-to-one consultation with me or appointment with me, then a lot of that's all handled by my CRM. So that's automated. So I don't have to constantly send out emails and going back and forth thinking, I've got 3 times that are available, 12, 2 and 6. Do these suit? And they come back and they say, well, look, none of those suit me, but I can do 3 and 10 on the following day. So if you've ever had those conversations with people trying to find dates and times, then a CRM will help you to eliminate that, particularly when you connect it with tools out there like our calendar tools, like Calendly or Appointee or some of those calendar tools. You can connect those up and that automate the process. And that automates the process also of sending out reminders and that type of thing. It can make you more consistent. So it gives your clients a more consistent process, and it means that you are saying the same thing to all of your clients all of the time. So let's say, for instance, if you have meetings with people and you need them to, let's say, bring material with them, or you need them to answer some questions or fill out some sort of questionnaire, or maybe you've got some questions that people commonly ask, then you can use a CRM to send out emails on before the appointment or the consultation that you've got, and so you can send the same messages. So you can send messages about what they can expect. You can send out frequently asked questions by your CRM. You can send out the same form as well, so people send out the same form. Even things like accounts as well. So if you're sending out account reminders, a lot of accounts programs have reminders in it, but you can use the CRM for that. They're connected to your accounts program. If you have to produce reports, so on a regular basis, then you can run that through a CRM. So let's say, I know there's a couple of web developers here as well too. They may be sending out reports on how websites have performed let's say Google Analytics are pulling out results. So you can use CRMs to help to deliver some of those reports as well. So everyone's getting the same consistent process. You can reduce stress. How does this reduce stress? Anyone been in the situation where they promised to do something, maybe it was a phone call, follow up, do something or whatever, and they've forgotten? Anyone done that? I know that I have. Yep. So a few of us. So I use my CRM to remind me of things that I need to get done, remind me of promises that I've made, so that it comes up to the top of my to-do list. So that way I'm not forgetting some of the stuff that I promised that I would do. Still not perfect at it yet, but it's just one of those works in progress that's getting better and better, and great for those more creative, less system type of people. So it means when you're running your business, it's a whole lot more enjoyable as well too, because who wants a stress-ridden business? Let's make it enjoyable so you can take some of these tasks off your plate. It helps you to systemize systems and processes and procedures, and you can get to achieve a whole lot more as well too. All right, well, let's have a look at some simple ways of or clever ways of using your CRM. So the first one, I hope everyone knows. So it's a reasonably straightforward one, and that is that most CRMs will connect to your website. So when you do get a CRM, the very first thing you need to do is find out, how do you connect it to your website? Now, a lot of them have a script or a piece of code that you can add into a website that you can either add yourself, or if you're not sure how to do it, you can give it to your developer and they will do it. If you don't have a developer, then it's easy to find developers on places like Fiverr or Upwork or places like that. And they're reasonably simple tasks to be able to add these to your website. And for some websites, if you're using WordPress, for instance, a lot of them have plugins. You just install the plugin, insert the little code that they give you in the plugin, and that's all connected. And what that allows the CRM to do is it will then do things like when you send emails out from your CRM that send people to your website, it will track what pages they go to and what pages they visit. So it's really good, useful information for seeing what people are interested in. So you can do some clever things like any emails that go out in the future based on the pages they visited and the interests that they have. So that way you don't have to send generic same emails to everybody. You can send emails that are based on the things that they're interested in. So I'm looking at Paul at Paul's Productions at the moment. He's got a couple of different types of videos that he shoots. One is for funerals, one is for weddings. Anyone that is getting married is not going to be interested in getting sort of promotions about funerals. They're two quite different events. Well, I hope they are. So you can separate your list out to ensure that only those that are getting married get videos of getting messages about using video for marriage, and those that have inquired about funerals or looked at your funeral pages, then they're getting emails about funerals as opposed to weddings as well too. So you can start to separate these things out based on people's interests or what they've inquired about.
Like when the wedding is over and the marriage goes sour, you could be lined up for a funeral.
Well, that could be right as well too. So that's another message yet again. So the first thing to do is all of your CRMs connected to your website. Look at how to connect it. Make sure it's connected to your website. That is the very first critical thing. Then the next thing is...
Can I ask you a question at that point? Because that's something I hadn't thought of before, because I've got a form on my homepage, which is pretty useless. Because of the two, or the, let's say that, if there's 4 different types of products, maybe you should have a sign-up form on each of the relevant pages that takes you to the appropriate, someone who's looking for funerals and doesn't care about weddings or conferences would feel it, would sign up there and get to the CRM.
Absolutely. Yep. So that goes into the next stage of what I'm going to talk about now. The very first thing that you need to do now is, at the very least, is to have some way of people to sign up on your website. At least one lead magnet, one form on your website where you're exchanging some information or something of value to them in exchange for their email address. So if you haven't got that, that would be the very, very first thing that I would encourage you to do, is to get a form on your website where you're gathering people's email addresses. So you connect the CRM to your website, and then the form that you've got there, once you set up that form to deliver, let's say, a lead magnet or a checklist, or even if it's just a contact form that you connect to your CRM, at least you're capturing that information into your CRM. But certainly a lead magnet, and we have spoken about lead magnets on a previous episode here, which you can find up at the SmashGo YouTube channel. So yeah, so have a lead magnet. That's how you collect your emails. Emails going to your CRM, and then when they get to your CRM, there is a thing called tags. Most CRMs have tags. Some CRMs have lists. So the old style of CRM, people would sign up. Let's say you had 4 different lead magnets on your website. Each of those lead magnets would have a different list that people would be added to. That was the old way of creating lists or segmenting people in your CRM. These days, so I highly recommend you don't use lists these days. Some of the CRMs are list-based, and they'll ask you to collect people's details into a list. Have a look and see if they've got tags. If they've got tags, that is a far better way of managing your contacts. So what happens is everyone gets added to one master list, so one big list, and then they get tagged as to what lead magnet, for instance, that they've downloaded. So they've downloaded a lead magnet for getting married. They've downloaded a lead magnet for family video. They've downloaded a lead magnet for funeral, and then you can tag them in your CRM to say wedding, funeral, family, however you might do that. And then and the reason for having those tags is that you can search your CRM by that tag and then send messages to people based on just that tag. So you send messages to people only who have that particular tag, or you can send messages excluding people that have that tag as well too. So that gets into a bit more complexity with it, but that's how you can use it quite powerful. You can automate so you can deliver your lead magnet from your CRM. So one of the things I would recommend you don't do, and I've seen some people do it, is on your website. People sign up to download your, let's say, lead magnet. It might be a PDF document, or it could be a video that you've made. They fill it in, put their email address in, and hit submit. And when they hit submit, they immediately go to the page, which is where that download is. I would recommend you don't do that. Send them to a thank you page instead. The reason for that is that people can put in bogus email addresses and still get the lead magnet. So you start to get your CRM filled up with bogus email addresses, and people have still got, they've remained anonymous and they've got your lead magnet. So it's far better off to have a thank you page and to tell people to check their email inbox, for sometime in the next 5 minutes for the lead magnet coming through. And that way they're your real email addresses. And then the other thing you would do once you've delivered your magnet is to ensure that you've got a follow-up sequence as well. So don't just deliver the lead magnet and that's where it stops. The lead magnet is your introduction to people. Then ensure that you've got at least 5 to 7 follow-up emails that go into a wee bit more depth to the information that they've downloaded in the lead magnet, or maybe gives them some more information. You might provide them with some case study. You might provide them, give them an offer to work with you, but that would be all in your automated emails. And there are some sequences out there that you can follow that help you with your conversions. Now, the advantage of doing that is that if someone downloads your PDF document and that's all they get from you, first thing is a lot of people don't read them. So has anyone ever downloaded a lead magnet and said, right, I'll read that, put it into a read later file and never gone back to it again? So there are a lot of people that do that, myself included. So if you keep emails coming through that are related to the topic that they were interested in, then 2 things happen. One is you're in their inbox on a regular basis, like every 2 or 3 days. They get familiar with you, they start to recognize you, and they're more likely to connect with you. Or when you do connect with them again with a message there to either contact you, have a consultation to take to the next step, then they're more likely to do that. If you only send one email, then they're more likely to forget you. So ensure that you've got a lead magnet that collects email addresses, that goes to your CRM, you deliver the lead magnet, and you have an automated sequence of emails that go out after that. And some CRMs allow you to send SMS messages as well. Use those sparingly, but you can use them, and they're good for helping people for conversions. So you can actually deliver a lead magnet through SMS. So they just tap on and get your lead magnet, or you can make your offer through SMS. They've got a way higher open rate than emails. And using this process is an easy way to start to convert emails into sales. Now, I'm with a community of people that will consistently convert their email sequences through, this lead gathering exercise into $50,000 and $60,000 sales in terms of, bulk sales. So, they might be selling a product at anywhere between, and these are online products, or, what would you call it, mastermind or event products. And they will sell enough of those there through that process there of having a lead magnet to start with automated emails to generate anywhere between $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in a week or a couple of week period. So that's another whole strategy, but that's where this strategy leads on to, helping you to do that. So that's the first one, is you can use it for your web conversion. If I would recommend, if you don't have a lead magnet on your website, that's the first place to start. Connect your CRM to your website and then set up this process. Next one is Facebook groups. Now, what you may not be aware of is, or you may be aware that Facebook doesn't give you people's email addresses, or there's very limited circumstances where they give you email addresses. First thing I would say is that you want to, if at all possible, get people's email addresses. You want to move people off Facebook or any social media platform, whether it be Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, and into your CRM, and have a process for doing that. LinkedIn is more, that one there is sort of less of a risk, although it still is a risk for just using that platform for communicating with people, but definitely Facebook is a risk. And I've seen businesses wiped out overnight by Facebook closing their account, and trying to get Facebook to review and open those accounts can be quite difficult. And there are people that I know that have had businesses that have been reliant entirely on clients on Facebook. So if at all possible, move them off Facebook and into your CRM. Now, one of the best ways to do it, well, there are two ways to get email addresses off Facebook. First one is a paid one. So that's lead ads. So if you're running ads on Facebook, there is an ad called a lead ad. You've probably seen those on Facebook, and they're ones where they're sponsored ads. If you click on it, then a form scrolls up from the bottom, and it automatically populates with your name and email address. That one is called a lead ad. And if you're in the ads manager, you will see something called a lead ad. Now you can connect that lead ad to many CRMs. So when people click submit, all of their details go into your CRM. If your CRM doesn't connect to Facebook for lead ads, it will connect to Zapier. So Zapier is that tool that connects to a whole lot of other apps around the web. And then you can get your Zapier will capture the lead and send it to your CRM. So that's the first way. So that's if you're using paid ads. If you're not using paid ads, then I would recommend that you set up a Facebook group. So I have a Facebook group called Business Owners Smashing It Online, and every single person that joins that group has to provide an email address in order to get entry into that group. So when you set up a group on Facebook, it will give you the option to ask questions that we'll have questions there that people have to answer before they get approved in. And so typically, what do I ask? I ask, what are you interested in, or interested in getting out of this group? What are you contributing? We've got some resources and information that we do send out. What's the best email address to send that to? And the third one is basically, do you agree to be respectful and follow the rules, et cetera, on Facebook? So there is an app out there which I have profiled before. You might want to write this down because I haven't got the link for it just here, but it is called Group Leads. So it is a Chrome extension called Group Leads. So if you search for Group Leads Chrome extension and install that, it is a paid app. I think off the top of my mind, it's about $97 a year. What that allows you to do is to order it. It will then connect to your CRM or to Zapier. So Group Leads will do that. And this is only for Facebook groups, so that when someone applies to join your group, then with the Group Leads extension, you can click a button to accept them. And when you click accept or approve, it will then scrape that email address out of that question, send it through to your CRM, and then you can send them your standard welcome message, and they are now leads that are in your CRM. So, and the Group Leads extension also does things like it can do automated, so welcome posts, and you can even automate the approvals as well too. So you can set it up so that the question field must have an email address in it in order for it to approve it. If it doesn't approve it, it will send a message that said, hey, look, you haven't provided all the information that you need. We'd love to have you in the group. But if you go back, fill out all the questions, and we're happy to welcome you in. And so that way you are capturing people's email addresses. People that don't want to provide their email addresses, that's fine. They're not part of your audience as well. You don't have to accept people that are not providing their email address. There are lots of people who will provide an email address. So Facebook groups are a good strategy for you to help to build your list. When you use that Group Leads extension, connect it to your CRM, and then what you can do, which is what I do, is to fire off a welcome message from your CRM to people to say, hey, look, you've joined our Facebook group. Glad to have you here. You may have some gifts that you give them. You may have some, talk about ways that they can work with you or how they participate as well too. And you can also put them into an automated sequence, for the first, 5 to 7 emails as well too. Really good strategy. I get a lot of my leads come through that Facebook group using that process. All right, next one is number 3 is a sales pipeline. So you can use your marketing CRM as a sales pipeline. What I mean by that is that a sales pipeline typically has 4 stages. You have, if I get this right, leads, prospects, sales, and past clients. And people will generally progress through those 3 and it will be in that order. So a lead is anyone that gets into your database. That's a lead, anyone that you know. A prospect is someone that has expressed an interest in something that you do or something that you offer. A client is someone that's paid you money, and a past client is someone that has paid you money in the past, but they've finished with you and they've dropped out the other end. So what I'd suggest you do is in your CRM, this is what I do with every CRM that we set up, is that we have a tag for lead, prospect, client, and past client. And what we do with those tags is that anyone that comes into, or anyone that's in the CRM can only have one of those tags. So when they enter the CRM, so look, if they've, let's say they've filled out a lead magnet, they've entered the CRM, they're generally coming in as a lead. If they click on the download link to download the lead magnet, then it will turn them into a, because they've indicated an interest in it. So in the back end, there are things in your CRMs called rules or workflows. So you can set up rules and workflows in there so that if someone progresses from lead to prospect, then the lead tag is automatically removed. So they've only got that one tag. If anyone's got a client tag, so they're already a client, they go to your website and download another lead magnet, we don't want them to get the lead tag again. So what the CRM does is it's got a rule in there or a workflow that checks if anyone comes into the CRM as a lead and it's going to be tagged as lead, then check to see if it's a client. If it is a client, don't tag it as lead, just leave it as client. So it means they've only got one of those tags there. Now that's a wee bit more complex to work through, but it's reasonably simple to set up. But what it means is that then you can send out broadcast emails or specific emails to people that are only leads. So you're not sending it to clients, you're not sending it to past clients or prospects, you're only sending it to leads. You might send different messages to prospects, so you can filter them by whether they have the tag prospect, and again client. So there'll be emails you want to send it to clients that you don't want to send out to leads. So let's say you've got a special event come up or some promotion that's client only. Then you can search by people that have got the tag for client. Only send it for those people. So past client are people that have gone through it. They can reactivate again. They can come back to your website. They can download the lead magnets again and go back into the lead cycle and then work that way through the process. But they are the essential tags that every CRM should have: lead, prospect, client, and past client. So and then make sure that you've set up rules in there to ensure that they only have one of those tags at any one time. So rules and workflows are things that allow you to do that. Workflows as well allow you to send out email sequences. You can set goals in it. So let's say you have a series of 7 emails to go out after someone's downloaded a lead magnet, but what your ultimate goal is you're looking for them to book an appointment with you or book a time with you. So once they've booked that time, there's no point them receiving all the other emails because they've actually achieved that objective that you wanted them to achieve. And it can annoy them, if you're doing that, because they say, well, I've already booked in with you. So you've got things called goals. So if you have a look in your CRM, there's generally something in there called a goal. And you add a goal to what they call a workflow. So workflow is like they enter into your CRM, they apply a specific tag. If they get applied a tag, then you send them out a sequence of 7 emails. Once they book an appointment, if they got to email 3, then it skips the other 4 emails and then it ends that workflow, or you might add them to another workflow. So it helps you to manage those things so that people are only getting the messages that they need to get, and they're not getting superfluous messages. So that way you can use it as a good workflow and as a sales pipeline by using those lead, prospect, client tags and using workflow as well. Number 4 is, I touched on this at the very early start, getting reviews. Absolutely essential. Your business should get reviews. You need to be aiming for, and when I say reviews, Google reviews is what I'm sort of talking about, and also LinkedIn recommendations as well too. And you can get Facebook reviews as well. But generally, your 2 powerhouses for reviews are Google and LinkedIn. Why do you get reviews? Well, the first thing is that if people are searching for your products and services and what you offer, and they're in the search engine, then the thing that pops up at the very top, reviews in Google search. So, you've got the maps area, and in the maps are the reviews with your listing. So you want to be above everybody else in it. Not everyone reads all the reviews. They might read a few of the reviews, but what they're looking at is quantity. And if you can get over 200 reviews, then you are in the top echelon of getting business. Now, I do know someone who was a client that I worked with. He was a building inspector, and I've got another one who's a lawyer as well. They've both got well over 200 reviews now. It took them less than 12 months to get them, and they attribute some of the business they get and the revenue they got from having these reviews. So it is worth money. So what you can do is you can automate your review requests. Again, you can use a tag and a workflow. So a tag saying they have paid for their product or service, or it's been delivered. So that would be the tag. And then you might have a series of 5 emails set up there. First one, which might say, hey, look, would you mind giving us a review? And then you give them the link in that email to either your LinkedIn recommendation or your Google reviews. And then the other emails can be reminder emails to say, hey, I haven't seen your review come through. And do it nicely as well. Don't pester them, but have it as just as reminders. But you don't want to keep sending the reminders if they've already done the review. So once they've done the review, that's the goal achieved, and then you can have it automatically removed from the reminders. And the other one, which is similar, is to send through referral requests if you're looking for referrals from people. So you can have a system set up for that as well too. And the last one that I have for you, this is for your business. And it's not stuff that's client facing, but stuff for you. And this is reminders for you. So these are things like, if you sent out a proposal, how do you do your reminders now? Some people will pop it into their calendar or their diary to follow up in, I don't know, a week or 3 days or whatever. Yep. Other people will hold it in their head and try and remember when they send it out. That is a recipe for disaster. but you can set up your reminders in your CRM. So rather than having to put it in your diary or your schedule, you just mark or tag the client as having had a proposal sent out to them and to follow them up in 3 days' time. What the CRM will do is then spit out an email to you or an SMS message to you with a list of all the people you've got to follow up in that day. So you don't have to write anything down. All you have to do is to tag that the proposal's gone out. And there are ways of setting that up to automatically tag clients that have received the proposal, and you'll get that reminder in sort of 3 days, 5 days, whatever that period of time is. So you can use it for your process management for yourself or for your staff as well too. So again, rather than relying on your staff to write down in their diaries when they need to do things, you can have this spit out, and you can have them click a button once they've actually done what they're supposed to do to let the CRM know that it's been completed, so that you know, and you can get a report that it's been completed as well too. You can do things like annual reviews. So again, this pest inspector we're working with, or houses need to be treated every 12 months. So you can set up an automatic email that goes out to clients every 12 months to say that their pest inspection is due again, or their pest spray is due again, and with a link to go and book in their time when they want to have it. That's a really simple one. We did a mechanical workshop as well too. So cars need to be serviced every 6 months. So every 6 months, clients got a reminder by email to say that their car was due for servicing, and in fact we set that up on SMS as well. So they received an SMS message with a link in it to just go and click the link to either call or to book in a time for their car service. Repetitive ordering. I worked with a client who did organic vegetable orders. And the thing about vegetables is that they are consumable. People run out of them or they rot in the fridge. So people need to constantly replace them. And so they would have a repetitive ordering email that went out every week just to let people know that the next order for vegetables was due. Here's the link to the website to go and order what they wanted this week. So you can set that up. If you've got special events happening, so typical one is birthdays. Anyone was here last week would know that birthdays are not the greatest time to send out cards to people or to give people phone calls, because that's what everybody does. Just have a look on social media. Everybody that I don't know says happy birthday to me. But you might do things like happy half birthday. So, it's like you're not saying happy birthday to them on their birthday, but halfway between, you can say happy half birthday. So there's something that's a bit different and a bit unique. But you can set that up in your CRM to go. And what you can do with the CRM too is that you can have a number of different messages that it can randomly pick which message it's going to send to a client, or it might pick a message depending on the tag that they have, the product they've bought, when they came to you, how long they've been with you as a client. So you've got lots of flexibility how you might do that. And things like anniversaries as well. So anniversary might be the anniversary when they became a client, anniversary when they finished a program that you ran, anniversary of their wedding, if you did their wedding photography, that sort of thing there. So you can be really creative with some of these sorts of reminders. Now you can either send those emails out to the client, or you can send them to you as a reminder. So let's say it's an anniversary of them becoming a client of yours. You can receive a list of everybody that became a client this week, 12 months ago, or 2 years ago, or whatever that period of time is, for you then to go and think about, how do I follow these people up? And so it might be just a simple phone call, or something like that. So you can use it for reminders for yourself. Now, what I didn't touch on is those that have got e-commerce stores, and I know that there is a e-commerce store here. That's what we've got next there. Okay, those that have got e-commerce stores, you've got some pretty clever things like abandoned cart emails. So they're things like someone's added something to a cart and they didn't actually finish checking out. So the CRM that I use, the one that I really like is Drip. And I like it because I'm a service-based business. It works exceptionally well for service-based businesses. It was built specifically for e-commerce businesses. That functionality works well for service-based businesses as well. And it works for any business as well too. But they've got abandoned cart sequences. You can just click on a template for the abandoned cart, and it will install a whole workflow for which you can tweak for people that have checked out and they haven't actually finished the checkout. So the message might be something like, hey, look, you left something in your cart there. We've saved it for you in the cart for 24 hours. Here's the link to go back and check it out. Or you've forgotten something. Here's the link to go and check it out. And some of the more creative messages have gone out are things like, I notice you've left something in your cart. We've got a little discount there for you to encourage you to go and check out. All right, so there you go. That was 6 ways to use a CRM. That was me doing all the talking. Any questions or comments or feedback there? Feel free to unmute or.
Yes, Nick. Thank you very much for that. I should turn my camera back on. Thanks very much for that. I'm glad I asked because it was a very good presentation. I really appreciate that. There's a lot more to it, I think, than most people realise. A lot more possibilities with the CRM than most people realise. I think a lot of people think of MailChimp being just an email program as a CRM, and it does do that. But a lot of these other programs, like you mentioned, Drip, a lot of these other programs are so much more flexible. And it's also great to see, as you also mentioned, the way that CRMs have come in the last years, because yeah, the old just having lists of people did sort of tend to generate a lot of very generic emails sent out to people, and that can, I mean, you know yourselves, when you get a generic email from someone, you know that it hasn't been targeted to you, you know that it's not about you specifically, you know that it's just about everyone and you happen to be part of the subset of everyone. So yeah, so that's really good. So yeah, thanks again, Nick, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and look, that's a good point you raise there as well too. Sometimes I get the comment back from people that if I'm using a CRM, then isn't it impersonal? People are getting the same message, but the power of it is, as you say, Michael, is you can actually segment people out and give them highly personalized messages based on their interests, what they've purchased. And you can create an email that has what would you call it, mail merge fields and like mail merge paragraphs in it that will only include that paragraph if, say, they bought a certain product. I'm looking at Ron on screen at the moment. He works with, I think, dogs, and there are different breeds of dogs. So you might have 5 different breeds of dogs that you have as a paragraph. And so you wouldn't send out an email to someone who had a Chihuahua about, sort of something that affects Alsatians, for instance. So that one there would feel very impersonal, like it's just a generic email. But if you can get quite personal and say, hey, look, I know you've got a Chihuahua dog, and here are some things that are really going to help with your Chihuahua stress levels, or and you send that out, then that's where you get high engagement and you get higher conversions, and you really sort of have customers that really engaged quite deeply with you as well. So it doesn't have to be impersonal. It can be highly personal if you're using it the right way and you're using it like that. That makes sense? All right. Who can you go to for help to set up a MailChimp account? Yeah, look, lots of people there. I was going to say, if anyone wants any help with their CRM, feel free to reach out to me. You can either shoot me an email or message or however you get through to me. Jump onto smashgo.co or the website, send me a message. We can certainly help with setup of some of those there, having done it for a number of years, for about 30 years, in fact. I find it, yeah, so sometimes they are difficult to manage. The thing with CRMs is that it's important to map out what you want to achieve first, and then build it, and then build your automations around it. Don't jump into your CRM and try and build your automations on what you think you need to do, because you're just going to get lost with the whole thing. So simplicity is the key. Think about what your objective is, what's going to be helpful, what are going to be the outcomes. Get a big piece of paper and just jot that down so you've got a bit of a map, and then it's easy to start to implement it. Even a lead magnet. Think about, how do you jot down the process from someone landing on your website, signing up, what messages do they get? What's your outcome? What do you want them to do? Do you want them to book an appointment with you? Do you want to lead them into something they're going to buy? Where is it going? That's going to, once you've got that map there, then that's going to help you build out your workflows, your messaging. Once it's set up, you can forget it. Literally, you can forget it. Not entirely. You do need to review some things along the way, but this thing's just going to tick along day after day after day, regardless of what you do. You can go off and do your own thing. Any other questions, comments, or feedback?
Yes, Nick, I've got one. Yeah, do you find that as you develop this, that you need a couple of CRM programs or softwares to?
I don't, because once you've got your CRM, it depends on what CRM you've got, but you really want to look for one that's going to be is going to work for your business across a whole facet thing. So what I need is something that's a sales pipeline and also a marketing CRM. So I'm looking for something that's going to do both of those jobs. I'm more interested in the marketing side of things than I am in it being a full-blown sales CRM. So you just need to work out what's important for you. I do know some people that run two CRMs, like say a Salesforce and say a MailChimp. But if you start doing that, then you're going to start to introduce some complexity into running your business, and you'll introduce more headaches. So try and stick with one, and even if it's not perfect, and get that one CRM to do what you want it to do.
So, because we're e-commerce too, so really it's a good idea to start with the drip.
Yeah,
go for a good CRM right from the word go.
Yeah, just go for, look, if I was to weigh up so whether I go for something free or go for something paid, have a look at the features and what you want out of it, and go for the one that's going to do best. If it's the free one, great. If it's the paid one, just invest in the paid one. It'll be worth it. Because moving from one CRM to another CRM, it can be done, but it's quite a bit of work and quite a bit of effort to do it. So you're better off to try and start with something that is going to have a bit more longevity for you. But yeah, if you're running WooCommerce, Drip is great. I'll pass that.
Okay, good. Thanks, Nick.
All right. Any others before we wrap up for tonight? Is that you with your hand up?
Yeah, mate. Years ago, I used to use MailChimp a fair bit. I've still got my account, but I noticed that probably around the time that they pulled back the number of contacts you could have, they also severely reduced some of the features and took them out of the free one into and put them up first, second, or third level up in the paid. Because I used to have an assistant who would do my newsletters, for example. Last time I looked in there and tried to do all that, couldn't have anyone other than myself be the login, and so it sort of become pretty useless. But so I sort of gave up in frustration. But is it sort of worth resurrecting that, or go and start looking at something like Drip or Agile or HubSpot?
Or HubSpot. Yeah, look, for your business, that level of free for MailChimp is really only for sending out newsletters, and that's a bit old school now. You really have to pay for those other features that we talked about to get access to it. If you're going to have to pay for it, just go and find something that's going to work well for you. As I say, Drip is my go-to, but HubSpot, Agile, they're all good as well too. I've used them. Agile's got the free plan. I think we did some work with Agile with a client and started them on the free plan, but they ended up paying $70 a month to get everything that they needed. And we're up at that $70 a month. Few days of setting it up because they needed all these additional features. So don't be fooled into just getting the free one. Go for something that's going to
okay. And with any of these sort of lower end, or think of them as lower ends, with the automation stuff, could you have them to send out personalized automated messages on anniversaries?
Yes, you can do that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I definitely do that sort of thing. And you can some of the automations are quite powerful too. Like with some of the messages that go out, you would never know that it's been generated by a CRM. Like it's like a personal message to people. The only thing would trigger it and so people to know that it was a message that came out from a CRM is the unsubscribe link at the very bottom.
Okay.
And there are some strategies about how to push that down as well too, so it's not immediately obvious when they read the email.
Yeah, as long as you've got the data in the CRM.
Exactly. Yep. It's like rubbish in, rubbish out, or
Yeah.
you put the information in, you've got quality, that you can actually deal with as well too.
Yeah. So I'm thinking in terms of the anniversary of your husband's passing.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So you need
Yep.
his name, not just the person who's in the CRM who was organising it, the funeral, and some details about that event, so that you could put some of that into some of those fields on the form.
Yeah, well, you can certainly customize the CRM to capture, information that you capture that might be useful for an anniversary email like that. So it really did have meaning for when you send it out.
So I'd have to populate that myself, I think.
Yeah, you can create a web form to populate it. So, you can have it populate with a web form, and then once it's in there, then you can even populate it with a clip as well too. You might have a sort of a clip that you want to send them, and that can go. So.
Okay.
But if anyone wants to find out more about how you can use a CRM or maybe a strategy around it, more than happy to have a conversation with you about how you can use it for your business. And I think before you sort of truck off and just go and choose a CRM, sometimes it's helpful just to have a conversation about what's going to be useful and how to actually select a CRM. I know Michael sent me a number of links to various CRM places. You can go and, which is really helpful, and you can go and sort of search things like CRM reviews or CRM comparisons, and there. Sometimes you'll get lost amongst all that. It's still hard to choose, but as I say, happy to have a conversation if that's going to be helpful as well too. All right, well, that is our session for tonight. Hope you found that useful. As always, this will be up the Smashco YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon if you want to catch it again. Otherwise, go and have a sensational week, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.